What's up, Brew Crew? Opie here. Welcome back to my Brew City Garden. So we made it to the Memorial Day weekend. And, even since my last video where I'm complaining about the rain, well, lo and behold, it just kept raining even after that. So, but you know what? That's just kind of the way it goes. You know, what can you do? You can't fight nature. It is what it is. So, all right, guys, let's take a look around the garden and see where we can put these things. All right, so I think the first thing I want to put in is some bok choy or pak choy, call it whatever you want. It's all pretty much the same stuff, Chinese cabbage. I'm gonna go ahead and put a couple of transplants in this particular bale. And it really couldn't be any simpler. It's basically the same as you would do for soil. We're just gonna make a small hole and plug it right in there. So the same applies for the straw bales. So what I want to do is just open up a little hole here. Now keep in mind we've got carrots planted on each side of this bale. So you want to be a little bit careful. Try not to disturb them too much. You may a little, no big deal. That's why we planted extra carrots. We got tons of them in here. And typically they'll be fine. As long as you're gentle, they'll be okay. And I'm going to just stuff my transplant in there and just push the straw back together around it. And look at that. I mean, couldn't be easier, right? Looks beautiful. And I think this bok choy will be very happy right here where it's at. So let's get the rest of these put in here, or at least a few of them. I think I can fit 4 in this bale. So let's find one more. Put one right on the end here. Okay. So again, it's real simple. Just try not to beat them up too bad and try not to disturb anything you have planted on the outsides of your bales. Just open that straw up a little bit, stuff your transplant in there, squeeze the straw back together. Easy peasy. I'm planting these about 6 inches apart, which might be a little close, but I tend to plant fairly intensively just because I don't have a lot of space to work with. But that's okay. Everything seems to usually work out pretty okay. Could probably get one more right here. So we'll just open that up, stuff our pak choy in there, close it together. Voila, there we go. So I've got 5 plants down the center of this one bale. And, right now they look not good. They're laying over, and probably for the next 2 or 3 days, at least, there'll be some transplant shock. Today is a pretty warm, sunny day, which is kind of out of the norm as of lately. But that will also kind of contribute to some shock to these plants. So they'll probably look pretty rough for a few days. And then after that, they should perk right back up. I always have extras on hand just in case. So if 1 or 2 of these just can't handle the transplant and end up dying off, I can just come back along and plug a couple more in the bale, and no worse for the wear. All right, so I moved over 1 row, and we're gonna get a couple more cool weather type crops in. Now here I've got 2 of the giant kohlrabi. Now most people are probably familiar with the smaller kohlrabi. There's like a white Vienna, which is really popular, and then I think there's another red or purple variety that you really don't want to get much larger than maybe a tennis ball or so. Otherwise they start to get really kind of woody and just not very good to eat. Now, this particular variety is actually a giant variety of kohlrabi, and there's a few out there. A couple years ago, I grew a giant variety called Cossack, and I was able to harvest kohlrabi that were over 10 pounds each. I mean, they were absolutely massive, and you would think they would be inedible, but in reality, when I cut into them, they were just as tender as any small kohlrabi would be. So, I mean, they're just really novel to grow. They're really neat. There was so much kohlrabi, I didn't know what to do with it. So I ended up shredding it into like a slaw, and I fermented it into a sauerkraut, and it actually worked out really well. And it was a kind of a crunchier type of sauerkraut, but it fermented wonderfully, and it was actually really good. So we'll see what we get out of them. I just kind of like to grow these as a novelty. So we're going to try these again this year. I can't remember what the variety is. I know they're not Cossack, they're something else, but I thought I would give them a shot and see how they worked out for me this year. So again, same thing. We're just going to pull the straw apart. I'm only going to put 2 of these giant kohlrabi in this bale because they do get really large, and I want to give them some room to stretch. Now, besides the giant kohlrabi, which I've got 2 in this bale, I'm going to put in 1 Romanesco broccoli plant. Now, this is something I've never grown before, but if you have ever seen a mature Romanesco broccoli head, they are really just absolutely amazing. They're stunning looking, and their growth pattern actually mimics the Fibonacci mathematical equation, which is really just repeated throughout the universe over and over again. It's really fascinating. If you haven't looked into this, you should really go check it out. It's just extremely interesting, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this plant grows. Now, I'm only going to put 1 since I've never grown these before. I don't know how much room they require, so I'm just going to give them a good at least a half of this bale to grow. So let's get this sucker plugged in here, nice and deep. Close that back in. Super easy. So getting these transplants put in is nothing at all. Hopefully the weather will cooperate with us and give us some spectacular kohlrabi, and hopefully we get to see what the mature Romanesco broccoli head looks like this late summer. I thought these 2 bales would be a good place to put in just a variety of some cole crops. So here I've got, I'm putting in some Brussels sprouts, some regular Brussels sprouts. Here I've got a plant that's known as brew kale or kalettes. These seeds were given to me by a friend, and they look really, really cool. You know what? I'll throw a picture up so you can take a look. As you can see, instead of little Brussels sprouts, you get little kale sprouts in the form of a Brussels sprout type of plant. So looking forward to trying these and see just how well they do. Also, I've got some cauliflower and a cabbage. So we're just going to kind of see how these do. I have yet to grow cabbage in a straw bale, but I have seen pictures where they get absolutely massive. So hopefully we have the same luck as the pictures that I've seen online. So we'll go ahead and plug these in, and we'll actually have extra room in these bales. I can come back and put other little things in between them once I decide exactly what it is I want to put in them. All right, let's throw these suckers in here. Let's do this marathon style. We're just gonna get in here, stuff them in, just to show you how quickly you can plant out your transplants in your straw bales. Just shove them in there, close it up, open it up, shove it in there, close it up. Make sure I got these spaced properly. Start in the middle on this one, stuff that in there, close it up. This bale's getting a little bit loose, as you can see. Shove it in there, close it up, and we'll shove that. Bam! Super fast, super easy. Putting your transplants out in these straw bales is incredibly simple. It's easy, and as you can see, it's clean. So it's really just an awesome way to go. I really love planting out these bales. Hey guys, thanks again for joining me here today at the Brew City Garden to help me plant my cole crops and get some transplants put in the bales. Hopefully this helped you out, and maybe you learned something new. Hey, if you did get something out of this video, I would really appreciate if you hit that thumbs up button down there. That'd be awesome. Hey, if you're new here, hey, hit that subscribe button too, because the season's just getting started. So man, you can follow along. There's all kinds of things coming. We're gonna just have a blast this summer, and I'd love to have you here with us. Hey, and make sure you stay tuned. Wow, there is so much more to come, man. It's unbelievable, and I don't want you guys to miss it. So until then, we'll see you.